while you were kind of describing that in terms of like people want to see either that type of person get knocked out or get their hand raised. Well, that's kind of what we saw with Colby Covington, right? The story, it's a pretty, I mean, if you follow him, like the story is pretty well known at this point. He going into the fight against was it against Barbosa? Who? No, it was not. It was another Brazilian fighter. He was fighting someone, and then going into the fight, apparently he was told, "This is your last one. We're not re-signing you. This is the last fight of his contract." And he just went, kicked his butt, and then talked some smack to the whole country in Brazil. And then it's like, well, now we gotta sign this guy.
Yeah, man.
And now since then, he's completely taken that direction and ran with it.
He has, man, and it's crazy. I was there that night, man. They were worried for his safety, man. They had security. They had security with him, like from that point on until like he literally was on the plane going home. They had security detail with him the whole time. But yeah, dude, it's a little bit manufactured, but he got it. You know what I mean? Like he understood like entertainment value, man. I don't care if people hate me or whatever, So he kind of just started going with the MAGA hat and just going with this gimmick and it's so funny because like behind the scenes, Colby is one of the nicest human beings you'll ever meet, man. Like he shows up early to everything. He's not on time. He's like early to everything, and he'll be like, "Hey, how you doing? How's the kid doing?" You know what I mean? Like he remembers very much like Chael Sonnen used to be. Chael Sonnen was the same way back in the day. Like Chael's one of the smartest, brightest guys, one of the nicest people ever. I always tell people the story because it's funny. Like Chael would you do an interview with him, and obviously Chael's been kind of a mentor to Colby, so it shouldn't surprise people. But Chael was funny. Like you do an interview with him, and he'd come at you. You know what I mean? He'd just start yelling at you and be like, "Man, that's the stupidest question. I can't even believe you have a job in this industry. Like, what are you doing?" Da da da, and just go off on you. Like, damn, but then you get done and he'll send you a text like afterwards, like, "Hey man, thanks for the time, great interview. Send me a link when the story's up," and stuff like that. And Colby's very much the same way. I mean, look, it's I don't think I'm pulling the curtain back. I think people get it at this point. It's shtick. It's he's playing a character. But man, I mean, you think about like his fighting style. Like his fighting style is effective, but it's it's based on wrestling. It's based on pace. It's not like it's a bunch of knockouts, a bunch of finishes. It's about controlling positioning. Basically, what I'm saying is it's not the most fan-friendly style. Like I appreciate it. I'm sure some people, but fans like the rock'em sock'em robots, go out there and throw until somebody falls. Colby's not that way, and yet he was able to generate so much interest in his fights because of the willingness to go out there and promote. And man, it's a lesson to everybody, man. It's a lesson to everybody in this game. And it's kind of sucks sometimes, but it's just true. Like just winning fights isn't enough. It can be, it can get you there eventually, but you will lose out on so many opportunities and so much financial upside if you're one of these people that just says, "Hey man, I'll just take whoever they give me, just line them up and I'll knock them out." Like, no, you need to stir the pot a little bit and promote yourself. And if you do so, you will maximize your own financial opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, what I noticed with him, because again, I was going through his fight catalog in the UFC from the beginning, and up to that Maia fight, maybe even through that Maia fight, you definitely saw that where it wasn't exactly, again, like I said, fan friendly in terms of like the aesthetic, the look of it, but for him as a fighter, it was very effective. And then, but at least what I noticed was, so that happened, he had his whole call out there to Brazil, and then the fights post, at least from what thought I noticed was he started slugging more though. It wasn't as wrestling dominant it seemed. I guess he even made a shift to the fighting style. I mean, he looked pretty good. I mean, he stayed undefeated up until his most recent fight.
Yeah, no, I agree, and especially when you think about the fight with Usman, especially what a thriller that was, and it was all stand up, and that's that happens. So when you have two kind of elite level wrestlers, it's going to cancel each other out. So it's just like, well, hey, he's not going to be able to take me down. I'm not going to be able to take him down. So let's just throw down with strikes. And you're right, man. I think his game is underrated. I think people tend to hate on his skills because they don't like the person he is. And so then they don't, or really I should say they don't like the character that he is, if we're being honest. And because they don't like the character, they don't give his fighting skills enough credit. And I think he is really an elite level fighter.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Woodley fight.
Yeah,
absolutely. I just want to see him in the ring again.
I agree, man. I like Colby. Colby, I was at his first fight in the UFC. It was over in Macau, and it was the Ultimate Fighter China finale. He was one of the few English-speaking fighters on the cards. I think he was only like 6-0 at the time, but I was like, yeah, let me interview this guy because not hardly. He's one of the only people who speaks English. And so when I was researching him, that's when I found out that he was college roommates with John Jones. So I was like, oh, that's an easy story. Like here's the guy that what did he straight up. And it sucks because we weren't doing video at the time, and so I don't have it like on video. But you know, just mentioned it. You know, hey, oh, college roommates with John Jones. Like that's wild. He's like, that dude was like a drug abusing womanizer. I'm like, whoa, like whoa. That's the story. That's how you're coming out of the gate in your UFC debut. And, I was like, we'll wait on that one a little bit down the road. We'll let you get to that at another point. But I wish I'd had it on video because I like from day one he's just like, I'm saying it. You know what I mean? I don't care.
Yeah. Okay, I have some fan questions.